This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Boobies.
Hi.
Oh, hello.
And welcome to...
Oh, welcome to...
Wait, hold on. Let's start over. That's what you say, right?
Yeah. So you can do boobies. Boobies.
You should do it sometime. Like, maybe not today, but like...
I'm not as good at it as you are.
But I feel like it would be really, like, the people, like the fans would be like, oh, Caitlin's doing it today.
Well, yeah. We've done it by accident.
Yeah. But I feel like...
If we did it on purpose and didn't address it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Someday.
Yeah. All right. Hi.
Hello, and welcome to...
Boobies.
Boobies. That's right. We're your hosts. I'm Caitlin.
And I'm Joshua.
And today we're here to talk to you about...
The Mist.
The Mist.
Dum, 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 dum. The Mist, a 2007 American science fiction horror film based on the 1980 novel The Mist by Stephen King.
A little novella.
Yeah, novella. And it is written and directed and co-produced by Frank Darabont.
Darabont. It's starring Captain Holt, Andre Brower. Is that how you say his name?
Yeah, I think so.
Brower.
I would say Brower or Brower. I would say Brower.
Brower.
Or Brower. No, I would say Brower.
Brower. But Captain Holt from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. We've got Thomas Jane, Laurie Holden, and also Melissa McBride both from The Walking Dead. Carol and whatever. Melissa McBride played Carol. And Laurie Holden played, I forgot her name, in The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
It's been so long
that's what I
since I've
remember her
watched
from.
it.
That's right. And then, yeah. And then Marcia Gay Harden is the, did you say her name just now?
No, I haven't said her name yet.
Marcia Gay Harden plays
Miss Cambroy.
Miss Cambroy. And she's always like a really good actress in anything I see her in.
Yeah, she was fucking psycho.
She made me like hate her.
Yes.
Yeah.
She did a great job. We've got Jeffrey DeMunn and Toby Jones, who he played Ollie and he was in Harry Potter.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He's been in a lot of things too.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, everybody in the film did a really pretty good job of playing their characters. Because even like the mechanic and Jim and like everyone else, like I was like I started hating him because he played his character so well, you know. And even the dumb teenager, like everybody, Norm.
Oh yeah, Norm. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody, even Sally. Like, I felt bad when she was like got stung and everything.
Dude, what an unfortunate way for her to die in front of her crush.
Yeah,
like that was not cute.
Blow up. Yeah, really bad.
I was like, man, I would fucking hate to die that way in front of the person I'm crushing on.
And literally, and if you die that way, isn't that like your afterlife? Like you're kind of you look like that.
Look like that, maybe. Yeah. You could go back to because there are like sometimes spirits that come back as like their younger selves. So maybe not. Maybe she won't be doomed to that look because it was pretty gnarly.
Unfortunately, she needed some antihistamines.
Oh, a lot of them.
And so we're doing this movie because we're doing like, you know, creature features. Yes. And this definitely falls under the category. Because we find out that in the Mist there is a deadly monsters. Yeah, they look kind of bug-like at some times, but then also kind of crab-like at other times.
Crab and then that last one looked like a moose to me, but with tentacles
almost. Yeah,
yeah.
It gave like beasts of like. Oh, like you've seen like movies where it's like ancient creatures of like the back in the day before.
It kind of reminds me of the monster from the Studio Ghibli movie.
I don't know which one is that. A lot of it draws a lot of comparisons to like H.P. Lovecraft's like creatures and stuff from his novels.
Princess Mononoke.
Princess Mononoke.
Yeah, the monster from Princess Mononoke. I want to find it.
And so this movie really touches upon what would happen if you're stuck with a group of people during a cataclysmic apocalyptic event, which we've seen in a lot of movies like that. But I see that. It gives very like this, like a spirit type of like Avatar. Have you ever seen Avatar when
like
he turns
the
into
blue
the big spirit?
Avatar, right?
The big spirit thing, water creature. Yeah, that's what that gives. That's really cool. Do you ever go to like a supermarket or a restaurant and you think like, man, if this is the people this is the people I would be with?
Now
like if
I
was
do.
Okay, yeah. I think about that all the time because of movies like this where it's like, damn, like I would be, or if like you're on a bus or a plane or something, I think like, oh man, if we crash landed, this would be the people I'm stuck with.
I do think about that on planes and stuff because that's a very real possibility every time you take flight. I mean, thankfully a rare possibility, but not impossible.
Oh, I think about it every time that plane goes, doop, I'm like, this is it.
This is it. I'm gonna die.
This is the one.
But yeah, I haven't thought about like, cause like A Quiet Place as well. Like whenever they were all stuck in that diner thing, and then like that little girl was talking so much.
Yeah.
And things like that. Like
I literally thought about A Quiet Place today as I was getting ready and dressed because I'm having issues with my arm and shoulder, everybody. And I'm putting on my shirt and I'm like, and I'm like, if I was in A Quiet Place, I'd be dead.
You'd be dead.
You can't even keep quiet for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's scary. I mean, and then I definitely wouldn't want to be trapped in a supermarket with people unless they were all resourceful. They were it's like convenient that they had like a mechanic and then the military people there and
a doctor.
Yeah.
No, they never had a doctor. I don't know.
But oh yeah,
I wish they had one.
Lots of people ended up dying.
Yeah, no.
Spoiler.
But they had a bunch of local
Very
people who were
people.
all like basically resourceful because they were in different fields and areas of life,
diverse skill set,
jobs. Yeah,
yeah,
very much that. And it's really kind of unfortunate that the movie really shows what happens kind of in true life, like when shit hits the fan, because people's true colors come out and then people really resort to their most kind of, I feel like, more feral selves, and it's very survival of the fittest. So you become more of like what's good for me and like the people you love around you, as opposed to what's good for the whole. And yeah, it's a pretty wild ride from beginning to end.
People become very primitive
because we start the movie right with the very like stormy night, and we have a painter artist,
and the image from The Thing is on the wall.
Yeah,
he painted that poster. I guess,
and there's a lot of other actually images as well.
Yeah, there was quite a few, but I was like, oh,
immediately,
that's from The Thing.
Literally.
We just covered that.
If y'all want to go hear that episode, and if you haven't, great little plug-in. And then there was also the raincoat and from It.
Oh yeah,
the little yellow raincoat and a red balloon. And I think there is something else, but I can't remember.
He was painting Clint Eastwood.
Yeah. Oh, he had I think there's like a Shawshank Redemption like reference in there too.
That's cool.
And so a lot of these like Stephen King references. And so we're watching him, he's painting, doing the thing. We get a title card as we pan out to the outside and see a storm. The storm happening, and
the family's like standing there at the window. It was a nice transition. It was nice and subtle. It just gave it to us straight.
The mist.
And it was like, doom.
I feel like a lot of Stephen King titles give that.
Yeah,
like very just that's it. Here we are.
Because even It as well, didn't it? It kind of like faded. And through it and just appeared and was nice, subtle, and
it just gives like there's not a lot to it. It's just very like they put the font up there. You know what I mean? And so
you get what you get. and you don't throw a fit.
and it's a really bad storm because they have to go down to a basement or a cellar or something, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
We got the tornado sirens going off. And then they're not. That's just here in studio. If you hear that, guys, tornado sirens going off.
I was like, were there tornado sirens?
No.
I was like, I didn't catch it, but okay. They have the siren later, so I was like, it's not impossible. I was like, I could have just missed it.
No.
But yeah, they're heading down to the cellar, and then lo and behold, a tree just busts through the window.
That's very fitting for this movie, honestly, because we do have a siren in this film. That's very siren, very jarring, very like doomsday siren.
Like Silent Hill.
Yeah, very that. And also like if you're...
Oh, Laurie Holden was also in Silent Hill.
Oh, was she?
Mm-hmm. In one of the remakes.
Then we have it being the next day, it just transitions after the storm kind of does its thing, and we're going through the aftermath of what the storm did, and it really did a number to the house and
it was
surrounding
rough.
area. Yeah, there's trees everywhere, big trees at that, and one of them went through the window. So there's now a big, hole in the house because a tree crashed through it. And it happened to be his art studio, so it ruined his paintings.
Yeah, the painting that he was working on. And he was like, I guess I'll have to call the studio and get an extension. But as we see, there's no service at the moment. And subsequently throughout the rest of the film. But, God, this train really wants to let people know it's here.
It really does. I feel like it's getting louder and louder almost.
It's actually driving up the building.
It's getting kind of harmonious at this point. Like it's singing at this point. It is really giving scary movie though.
Yeah, it is.
And so then we get our little boy. What's the boy's name again?
Billy.
Billy's coming around.
Billy.
And being like, you guys, y'all got to see what happened to the boathouse. It's just like, whoa. And they're like, okay, all right. And they go.
I wonder what maybe they were just trying to be sweet and sentimental. Sorry. But they were like, oh, it was your grandfather's tree that he planted.
Oh, yeah.
And then later, whenever he comes back to the house and, spoiler alert, sees that his wife is dead.
Yeah.
He's like, I told her I was going to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
My grandfather's tree.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I wonder if there's like some sort of significance. Or because I thought it was kind of weird for him to bring that up again.
Well, I think because it was the tree that fell through the window, right?
Yeah.
But I think because he meant like he was going to fix the hole in the house, right? Because that's how I'm assuming.
That's why he went to the hardware store. Yeah. Or was going to the store. And then
I'm assuming that she probably maybe could have survived if there wasn't a hole in the house because that's how the mist and everything gets in. Yeah. So, yeah. And also, though, why was she outside the house?
Yeah, I know. It must have like carried her or something.
I guess they really didn't want to have to create an act where then like they're like a whole 10 minutes where it's like, well, now we got to get out and go into the house and find her dead. Yeah, we'll just have her pinned up outside. Yeah, so they can just drive by. Because it was within like the last 10 minutes of the film.
Yeah,
that we finally get this. We are coming up to the boathouse and it is fucked up. It is no longer like it's not even like a scratch. It is like completely demolished by
just
the neighbor's tree,
smushed.
Mm-hmm. The neighbor who his name was played by
Norton.
Norton, and David is going to walk over to talk to Norton, collect his insurance, and he gets over there, and Norton's already, cursing out the
cocksucker.
What's it called?
Axe? No, chainsaw.
Chainsaw. Yeah, dude. When he said that, like, I was like, I felt like attacked, like. You know what I mean?
Because he called you a cocksucker.
Yeah. I was just it felt so harsh the way he said. No, it was his delivery.
Yeah.
Like even towards the thing, I was like, damn. Like I was like, the chainsaw does not deserve that. Calm down, bro.
I was so shocked, especially like really only knowing
him from
in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Isn't he more like dry humor, more reserved in that show?
Very.
Yeah.
And so to hear him yelling cocksucker, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. Which he R.I.P. He just passed away, right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. So R.I.P. homie. Thanks for really providing some entertainment for our movie today.
Quality humor.
Mm-hmm.
And stubbornness.
Yeah.
Because he was so stubborn in this
You know,
movie.
and we never find out his fate.
Yeah, we just
know that he left.
That he left. But they did say, like, you know what happened to Norton's group? And, like...
But they never saw. They just know that one dude who was tied up on the rope got yanked.
But they said it, but I don't know. I just was like, I guess he died.
You know, when we were in the area with the spiders, I really thought that was him first for a second.
Oh, yeah, I did too.
It wasn't.
And then I saw the military police helmet, and I was like, oh.
Never mind.
Different. I'm just racist.
Not Norton. Different black person. No. And so we have essentially him going to talk over there, right? And I guess even when the wife was telling him, like, you know, be careful going over there, they're already setting up that there's friction between the two. And so even when they're talking to each other, you can kind of tell that there's friction, and they bond over, I guess, essentially David feeling sorry for the dude's like vintage truck car being destroyed by a tree.
Because he was like, my insurance man's gonna love me because his tree
gonna have to file
smashed
a lot of claims,
lots of things.
And the sarcasm doesn't end there, I guess, because then he's gonna join along for the rest of the day because he's asking them, hey, are you going into town? Because he obviously doesn't have a car to take into town to go get supplies that he needs, so he asks David for a ride. And so Billy and David go to...
I think it was my foot.
Go to... The murderer's trying to get into the building, into the room.
It's the mist.
And they are going to the grocery store / hardware store.
And going back just a little bit, they already saw the mist coming off the mountain as they were looking over the lake and the boathouse. Yeah. And his son or his wife, someone goes, what is that? And he's like,
mist?
A mist? And I was like, roll credits.
Literally. Because also he's really dismissing it as well. But his wife...
was like, it's just probably some sort of like leftover storm cell from all of the weird weather we just had. Yeah. Which I would believe.
To an extent. But I feel like she was asking like the right questions of but like from the mountains and like I feel like she was like,
I've seen mist on water before, like that,
like over a lake. Yeah.
And so I was like,
that thick?
No, not that thick ever.
Yeah, I mean, it just looked like a cloud as more opposed to a mist.
Yeah,
but yeah, I felt like David should have been listening to wife a little bit more. But you know, it's a movie, so we got to keep rolling.
It makes me never want to split up from my partner.
Oh yeah,
like run errands always together.
Be together 24/7 all the time. Never any separation
just
at all.
In case we
Where are you, Andrew? Get here now.
Andrew, quit work.
Right now. You got to be right next to Kaylin. And so we have them heading to the store. Yeah. But on the way to the store, we have electric company trucks going by. So they think, okay. Electric Boogaloo Part 2. And we have military trucks going
vehicles heading out fast towards
and they're
something.
Like, where are they going? What's up with that?
And the movie, just a little aside, does a really good job of like establishing each character. Like even as they pulled out from we maybe got Billy's name at this point, and I don't know if we ever really got his wife's name.
She's not a main character at all anyways.
No.
Yeah.
And then you get David's name whenever him and Norton are talking, and as you pull out from the house, we drive past their mailbox and it says the Draytons on it. And so it just does a really good job of like establishing who all is here and
character names and stuff,
who is going to be a part of this film. Yeah. I appreciated that because then like later on, I forgot the old lady's name who ends up in the car with them at the end.
Oh, yeah. She's not Hattie. She's the other one.
Yeah, Hattie is...
She unalived herself.
Yeah. But the other one, and she...
The other old lady.
We
can find her name.
Yeah.
But continue on about the other old lady.
She just... Oh, no. I was trying to look at the cast. Yeah. and I almost hit a movie trailer for it.
Oh, okay. It would have started
Irene.
playing. Irene? Okay,
Irene
got
was
it.
her name.
We love Irene.
Yeah. But anyways, she like introduces the blonde girl. What's her name? And now I forgot it.
Oh Lord. I just called her a blonde lady, actually, to be honest, because it's just easier for my notes. But I know exactly who you're talking about. Yes. Laurie. Laurie's
Amanda.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Amanda.
There we go. Amanda.
I'm 6.
Amanda Dumfries. There we go.
Yeah.
Who is 6?
You not seen that sound?
No.
It's like, who's your friend, sweetie? And she's like, I'm Amanda. And then it like pans back and it's someone like haggard and she's like, I'm Amanda.
Oh my God.
I'm 6.
That's so creepy. I want to look it up now. Not now, but at some point, yes. That's funny.
At least I think it says I'm Amanda. I don't know. I could be getting that completely wrong.
I'm Amanda.
But anyways, they get to the store and we have like no signal still.
No signal, no radio signal, no phone signal.
Yeah, no nothing.
The pay phones aren't even working.
Yeah, because he leaves Billy with Norton.
Which I would not have done.
Yeah, especially if you're not like friends.
You're beefing.
Yeah.
You literally had court.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would be like, no, y'all can come with me to the payphone, kind of thing. But they head into the store. He goes to the payphone. It's not working. And they're stuck in a grocery store called the Food House. We get in there. We meet Sally. He talks to Sally first and is like, hey, Sally, and like says her name.
Then he asks her if she can babysit because him and the wife want to have a date night on Thursday.
Yep. And then we get Miss Carmody coming in, and she's a little pessimistic. She's like, with all this powered out, like, because Ollie, I think, tells her good morning. She's like,
with long lines like these.
Yeah. How can it be that good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll have to make do, won't we?
And it was like, okay, bitch.
Yeah, literally. Her character is like Karen, like off her rocker. She gives like almost Carrie White's mom. From Carrie, kind of, and they would make really good friends. They'd probably even like bitch each other out.
Yeah.
They'd
she was
shame each
so
other. So
violent too.
Oh yeah.
Just like Carrie White's mom.
And for someone too who was very like holier than thou, really quick to call somebody a bitch and curse.
Yeah, I know. I was like, ma'am, I don't think God would appreciate that.
Her sass whenever Amanda's like, I'll be your friend, and she's like, if I need a friend like you, I'll take a squat and pinch one out or something.
I'll shit one out. Is what she said. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God. Okay.
She's nasty. She's so ruthless.
She is.
But yeah, and even Ollie is just like, okay. And David's like, keep your head down, Ollie.
Yep. And then we have military police start showing up, and then
and like you said, they establish stuff really good in this movie, because even within like 5 seconds they just show like Sally and that one dude, forget his name, Jared or something like that. Jared. Yeah, this is like his last name.
Yeah.
Jessup. There we go. Jessup.
I was like, I remember there was an up.
Yeah, Jessup.
At the end.
He and her like exchange looks, and it's very like smitten, and it's
you can
literally
tell
for 5
that
seconds.
They've got something going on. And then even with the military police guy, like later on, you're able to recognize him, not necessarily right away because neither of us did, but as soon as you see the helmet, like you're like, oh,
their commanding officer,
yeah, because he's only there for a brief second and like giving some commands. And then I think that's when the police and fire trucks start heading out and blaring past. And so everyone like pauses what they're doing and they're all looking at the fire trucks and the police trucks leaving, and they're like, what the hell's going on? Being little looky-loos. And then we have this bloodied man heading towards them, running out of this mist and just screaming and coming at them.
The sirens are going off already at this point, right?
Well, at least there's like, I don't know if it's like sirens, but there's like the fire trucks and the police trucks all have their sirens going.
Gotcha.
At least there's some sort of siren happening.
Okay, yeah. I think this is also like in between this and him running up. Then the actual sirens go off, like from the noise. Because he runs in there, right, and he's yelling at them. There's something in the mist.
Something in the mist. Something in the mist took John Lee.
And then not even like a minute or two later, an earthquake starts happening.
Yeah, and Miss Carmody is like, it's death. And I was like, okay, bitch, calm down.
Yeah, she's already starting with her bullshit. And then we have this lady, which we didn't get her name.
Yeah, I just call her Carol because that's who she plays in The Walking Dead.
Carol is like...
She looks the same. It's like she survived this just to go live in The Walking Dead. Because she has a shaved head in The Walking Dead, too.
Same kids, everything.
Yep.
And so she gets...
They end up dying, and then she's by herself.
Yeah. Don't they end up like one turns into a zombie?
Yeah, I think so.
And the other one like tries to keep it alive, and then the other one dies too. Yeah. I don't know, like a pet. And so anyways, we have then her being like, I want to go because I need to go to my kids. Like one's 8, and she sometimes forgets that she has to take care of her little brother. So I gotta go. And it kind of struck me as odd that she was like kind of bitching them out for nobody wanting to help her, because it's like, well, you can't really ask people to risk their lives for your kids or your family's sake when they have their own families to think about.
Yeah, because she was like, won't somebody here see a lady home? And I was like, don't drag other people into it. Like, what the fuck? Like, this is not their problem. This is your problem. You're the one who's wanting to leave safety, especially whenever she looks at David. Yeah. And I was like, he's got his baby boy in his arms. Like, he's not going to leave just to help you walk. How far away is your house even? Yeah.
I was a bit like perturbed when I see her later. I'm like, damn, that bitch made it.
That she lived. I know. I even, because I wrote... she walks off alone, and then I was like, I hope her body smashes up against the window. Like,
right. Yeah. Like, that's what I was expecting. But then it's kind of really sad irony at the end that she's with her kiddos. And then yeah. But, so we're now she's leaving, and everybody's like, okay, we'll just go then. And then I just wrote, she's such a bitch. And then she walks out, she leaves, she kind of just takes a look around, and that's the last we see of her, so we think. And then that's whenever we go to David. He's trying to console Billy because Billy's obviously having like a little freak out moment, because any child would. He's crying for his mom. And I'm 30. I'd be crying. For my mom. Yeah. Billy, mommy. For real. And so then people are now going into that, like, what we do in a crisis mode. Everybody's trying to figure out what they can do to help out, and also like kind of like they're all super confused. They're like, what the fuck is going on? That's like when you're like comparing notes of like, well, what do you think? I don't know. What do you think? And since none of them really know, the like store manager dude guy is like just basically telling everybody, well, you go do this, you go do that. Damn.
Now the sirens are really here. The mist is rolling in, you guys.
It really is. Those came out of nowhere, to be honest.
Yeah, they did. They're so loud. I wonder if they...
It's right here. That's why. Oh. Yeah, it was right by the building. It like echoes up and reverberates. We're so high up that I don't even understand how it like even
the sound reaches.
But it sounds like even louder. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, but anyways, we are looking for some blankets because David wants to get some blankets because Billy's having like a fever or something, or he's
he's like so stressed that it's like physically affecting his body. And yeah, so Ollie's like, we don't have blankets, but we got furniture pads in the loading dock. So he goes back into the loading dock, and he walks in there, and it's all smoky. And so I was like, oh shit, the mist is in there. Yeah. But it's just the backup generator smoking and failing.
Yes, it is having a smoke, and he goes to shut it off, But as he shuts it off and it gets a bit quiet in there, he starts to hear a noise come from outside, and it starts pushing up on what we have like garage,
like a roll down door.
Doors. And so he's obviously like scared and put off by the sound. So he goes out to go tell the dudes about it, but they're like, they don't believe him immediately.
Yeah, no one's believing anybody at first. And then meanwhile, Miss Carmody's also being like the harbinger and saying it's Judgment Day and stuff like God has shown his wrath upon us, and starts spewing her nonsense. And people aren't believing it yet, but she's putting little seeds in their brain.
This is where everything's getting planted.
Yeah, but so then he's like, well, if you don't believe me, come with me and you can see the sound for yourself. See the sound, hear the sound for yourself.
You can see sound, Caitlin. You can.
Well, I mean, it was physically pressing against the door, so you could see it like the door, like, so they could see it. But basically, they try turning on the generator because Ollie's like, what the hell happened to the generator? And he's like, well, I shut it off. It was smoking. And so they're like, let me try. And it's like, he just said it was broken. Like, and so they flip it on, and then they're like, they discover that something is blocking the intake the exhaust, and something is blocking it, so they need to go out there and clear it. And it's should be only like a few feet away, but still they don't know what's happening. And he heard that noise, and so David is really against it. He's like, no, I don't think any of us should go out there. Like, he said the food would be fine, because Ollie was like, the food will keep until the power will surely come back on soon.
Basically, we don't need it to be on.
And so he was like, it'll be fine. Like, it's not the end of the world. And so David's like, why would we risk someone's life for something that doesn't even matter? And they all start volunteering to go out. Norm especially. Norm was like, well, I'll go out there and fix it.
It was my idea.
Yeah.
And then these guys are all getting really hot. I felt like for no reason, very fast. Because then what's his face is like, Jim is like, look, I'm not going to let no college, whatever guy tell me, what to do. And basically felt like he said you won't talk to us condescendingly. Yeah. And then all this stuff, which I didn't feel David was at all. Jim from the get-go was very much like being an asshole and just stubborn and was not listening. David
did call them dense. Yeah. He was like, what are you, dense?
Yeah.
And so
because they were.
Yeah, they were. I mean, heavily. He was spitting facts. Yeah. But
sometimes you got to talk on people's level.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I guess that is what
he didn't dumb it down enough for them. That's what the problem was. Yeah. He just didn't dumb it down enough.
And that's what Jim says later. He's like, well, how was I supposed to know what you meant?
Yeah. You didn't. And it's should have said what you meant better.
Yeah. And it's like, well, you're just gaslighting him at this
Literally.
point. It was so stressful.
But we have them doing the thing, turn the generator on, they open the door, and right as I was going to call him Bruno. It's not his name.
Myron.
No. Norm. Yeah, Norm is about to go out. He's like kind of looking back at them like, yeah, see, like there ain't nothing there. They all look really concerned, and then all of a sudden we just see these tentacles come in. Like,
yeah, I was so confused why they were just letting the mist in.
Yeah,
I was like, I thought the goal here was for him to slip out real quick,
fast, yeah,
and then like
go and come back.
Yeah,
like not like let's just observe for about 5 minutes and then you can go.
Yeah, I think he maybe had a chance of surviving if he had just done that.
I think so too.
But yep, these tentacles come in. And they kind of start swarming the place. There's lots of them.
I also thought it was weird when they're like trying to like fight off the one that's holding him. There was like at least 3 other ones behind them just kind of like filling up the walls. I was like, is nobody concerned that these other ones are just about to like snatch us as well?
Yeah, you know exactly.
What I mean? But they didn't.
They didn't, yeah. But this tentacles, they have fucking claws. And it rips Norm open. Like at first it rips open his leg. And it looked pretty fucking good.
They look like, they look like those type of bugs, like worms that have like, think they're tube worms or sandworms, whatever. Whenever they have their mouth and they're like like that, really like, but like on every little suction cup of the tentacles.
Yeah.
And
it was
on
wild.
the side, and so poor Norm is just getting fucking what's the word, wrangled, and he's about to get pulled out, and David's the only one that's helping, and Jim and the other person who like were really Myron, who were really like bent on them going out, are fucking like just freaking out, not being helpful or useful at all.
No.
Thankfully, our clerk Ollie is helping out and to try to get the beast off of Norm, but it doesn't help to any avail because it's too strong.
Yeah, and
got it in its grips.
Yeah, it like rips off his chest.
Yeah.
And so at that point I was like,
there's
he's
probably
dead.
no saving him.
Just
he would
him.
bleed out.
Like but they really try to get him back,
even by trying to cut a piece of it off with the axe.
Yeah. They're swinging at it with the axe, but that pisses it off, and then it like sucks Norm out.
Yeah.
And it was kind of funny whenever Norm like sat up a bit and then his head hit the garage door, and then he fell back and like got knocked unconscious. It was a little comical to me. I was like, oh, that sucks. But yeah, they basically have to leave Norm to die, and they
just gets yanked out.
Start the generator back up, and it starts retracting because it's like the door is trying to like slam shut on the tentacles, and so it's like and slowly moves back out, and then, but not before David can chop it with the axe and
gets a good little
piece off that he can use as evidence later, but not for long, we find out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then this is where Jim was saying like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I was like, oh, now he's sorry, and just starts gaslighting him. Like,
yeah.
And so fucking David doesn't take that, and he just turns around and he's like, bop, bop.
Yeah, he's like, this is your fucking fault. You got that kid killed, and now his blood's on me. And they're like, well, how are we supposed to know? And he went out there willingly, and he's just like, well, he's stupid, he's a kid. What's your excuse? As adults, you should have known better.
Yeah. And then this is where Ollie's like, what the hell were those tentacles even attached to? He starts asking like the real questions, and he's like, I mean, those were big tentacles. Like, what the fuck could be on the other side of that door?
Very much so. We never do see the beast that those were attached to.
Yeah. I thought maybe it could have been that moose-like creature at the end, mammoth-like creature with all those tentacles kind of coming off of it. I thought maybe it could have been that.
Maybe.
But it was so far away and in the mist.
Maybe they can like go really far though.
Yeah, like extend.
All the way to the ground because it's a tall creature.
Yeah, his legs were long.
And
model.
We have them now talking about how and Jim and Myron are going out. He says to them like, hey, do not tell anybody anything. We can't tell them, not yet at least.
Yeah, and then this is where Ollie's kind of like, we kind of have to fucking tell them because the entire front of the store is plate glass.
Yeah.
And we need to start preparing for these things to come in. And so, like, we need to prepare.
Yeah, and let them know what we're up against.
Yeah, and so then they're cracking open beers, and Ollie's basically telling them like, okay, we are going to tell people, while David goes to tell Norton what's happening. And Norton is
he like off the bat, he's just like, y'all are pulling my chain.
Yeah. Like he was like, this is a joke because I sued you last year. And it's like, this is not about you right now,
it's
sir.
This elaborate joke. Yeah. Like, very egotistical.
That's some shit I would think though.
Yeah.
Like
you're getting back at me.
I'd be like, oh, this is because that one time I did this, and now you're, because I always think I'm like pretty gullible.
Yeah.
And so I just like automatically think that everything's a joke. And it was like my biggest fear to be asked out as a kid as a joke.
Oh no. Yeah.
And so it never happened to me.
Yeah.
Thank God.
That's a really that, like, yeah, I feel that.
It's always something that
like my fear is the rapture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
I don't know
would be
why.
scary.
I just don't like it. I don't really care for it because it would confirm a few things that I don't want to be confirmed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
But that's all, really. I mean, I'd have to whatever, but yeah. And it's also like my childhood like fear. So I think it stems from there for some reason.
Yeah.
From being so conditioned from the church and like being like, you're gonna go to hell. And I'm like, okay, well,
I guess I am.
I guess everyone I love and ever cared about will be going into heaven and I won't. So that sounds great.
Yeah.
I'll burn forever. And
if there's that's just something that like if there is a God and like a heaven and a hell situation, I'm gonna be pissed if I go to hell just because I don't necessarily believe in God, but like I'm a decent person.
You are.
I'm not out here like trying to fuck people over. And like, so if just because I didn't like read the Bible every day, he's like, hell.
Yeah.
I'm going to be like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Hopefully Satan will be chill though.
Well, the whole thing is like, even like, yeah, there's just certain things. Like I've never been baptized before. Like I've always
I've been baptized like 3 times.
No, you're like, I'm gonna dip back in.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, better.
Well, let me re-sign the contract. I renegotiate the deal. I've never done it because I've always just like, to me, it never felt right because I was just like,
I know that believe this.
What I would be doing would be so hypocritical of me, and I'm always very like, that's y'all's thing to be hypocritical, and I'm not going to be hypocritical. So yeah, but anyways,
they
are
Norton's not believing them.
Norman's not believing them. He's just having this whole kind of fit about the whole case. He's basically more essentially just not over the case is what it seems like, and all of that shit, and he's bringing it up and he just wants to fight over it. Yeah. And then we also cut to Miss what's her name again? Carmody. She's praying on the shitter over the toilet and is talking to God and having this conversation, just basically like, let me save some of these people, because at least if one of them can be saved, then I will have pulled my weight and I can go to heaven and yada, yada, yada. And so, yeah. And then I love when Amanda comes in, and she's like, I need to use the restroom. And she's like, oh, okay, well, have at it. And it's as if like Amanda's just like going out of her way to just disturb her and her peace and her prayer. Like,
everyone, she was so self-righteous.
Yeah. Everyone is just like devoted to the devil and is just outright to get her and bring and test her and tempt her. They're all sinners. Yeah. And that thing she said to her where she's like, if I need a friend like you, I'll squat and shit one out. Yeah. I was just like, oh.
She was like, I have a friend in God.
Yeah. That's so crazy.
And I was like, oh my God, that's so fucking rude.
It was the rudest thing ever, literally.
Yeah. It was.
She just called her shit.
It was awful. I was like, oh my God. They, at this point, they are also telling everyone about what's going on. And Carmody is also like saying something.
Her own spiel.
Yeah. And Ollie's like, in the meantime, shut the fuck up and listen. Yeah. And I was like, oh, tell him, Ollie. Yeah. Because Ollie was the one telling them.
What's going on. Or maybe
it was to his manager.
It was to the manager.
Okay.
Yeah. But it was because she starts adding her 2 cents after David says his shit. And that's whenever what's her face goes in to slap her. And Amanda goes in to slap her. And she's like, okay, I've heard enough of what you have to say. It's very Old Testament. And then they all
show the manager the tentacle.
Yeah.
Before she slaps her.
Oh, do they? Okay, yeah. Gotcha.
And because he's like, I don't know why Norton didn't just go with them.
Yeah, that would have made more sense.
I was like, why?
The main man who doesn't believe should have went to go see.
Yeah. Exactly.
For himself.
So, but they show the manager and the tentacle, like I think one of them touches it kind of, and it just burns up and turns into goo and is like this like oily fatty substance on the ground. And that's when he comes back up and he's like, it appears we may have a problem of some magnitude here. And they're boarding up the windows. And then that's when Miss Carmody starts like telling all of the words of Jesus and stuff. And I was like, girl, ain't nobody need that right now. But yeah, and then she brings up Revelations chapter 15.
Where there's like a beast in the sky or whatever or something.
Yeah, and the locusts, and we will all prepare to meet our maker.
On
and
the 7 plagues of the earth or whatever.
Yeah, and she was like saying God wants blood. And then she's like, I am Mother Carmody. And I was like, she could be a cult leader.
Yeah, that's a lot of, it's like what self prophets, whatever. She's prophesizing and really using her own
saying she's a vessel,
paranoia and stuff to influence all the people in the room around her. And Norman's still like not believing, and he's trying to gather a group of people to leave, right? I believe, yeah. And then Amanda slaps her, and then that doesn't stop her whatsoever because she still is going off and doing her thing. And then I think that's whenever Billy goes to talk to the troops, right, or something like that.
My next note is, well, bye Norman.
Oh yeah, because he wants to. He leaves, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's a big group that goes out. Yeah. And then the biker guy is on the line, and because he's like, I'm going to go out there, get the gun from the truck, because they only had one gun, and Amanda pulled it out of her bag. And one of the other guys was like, I've got a shotgun in my car, like, just go out there and get it. And so the guy's on the line, they've tied it up around his waist, and they're feeding the line. And it's like fine at first, but then the line goes slack. Yeah. Yeah. And it drops. And then all of a sudden it goes tight again. And it's pulling very hard and very fast to the point where like David's getting rope burn on his hands, which that must hurt so bad.
Literally makes me cringe.
Yeah.
I know that feeling. And even the sound and like all of it, it's just sending shivers up my spine right now.
It's
I
awful.
don't like it. I didn't like it.
And then it was so fucking wild. Whenever the line started going up. I was like,
obviously this is something huge,
very big.
And then they start, the line just drops, and they start pulling it back, and it is covered in blood at the end.
Yep. And then they see just his lower half left,
just being pulled.
And Carmody's like, now do you believe?
And then cuts away, whatever. Then we have a lot of cuts in this movie as if it's going to like a commercial or like made for TV or film.
I almost Googled if it was made for TV or film, because we watched it both on Prime with Freebie.
Yeah.
And so there were commercials
but not all the time, not in all the transitions where it turned dark.
Yeah, there were a few transitions where I could see it. And then there were some cuts that I was like, did the commercial like play over part of the movie? Did I just miss something? Like, I wasn't certain that it actually stopped playing the movie, because it seemed like there was parts that I missed.
Yeah. And I was like, the commercial was just playing, but the movie actually was still going.
I see what you mean. I was confused at a few of the transitions. I was like, I don't get it.
Yeah, there's a lot of them, because it does that, and then we cut back to Sally and Jessup, and they're like talking, flirting, kind of. She's like, "Why didn't you ever ask me out?" And he was like, "Because I was stupid." And then
his real name is Wayne.
Wayne, okay.
Jessup is his last name, Wayne Jessup.
And they start to kiss, because of course that's what happens during the apocalypse. You want to make out.
Yeah.
And then we cut back to everybody who's back outside by the windows and stuff, still like putting up dog food and like doing stuff and trying to help out. And then
this one guy's eating his food there, and then this giant bug just
right on the window lands
on the window, and I was like, they're probably attracted to the light.
I love how you could see it like zzz, and then it came up from afar. But yes, you're right, probably attracted to the light. And what they are
And then at this point I was like, wait, Miss Carmody might have a point.
Yeah.
I was like, with the locust and stuff, I was, because when they started like swarming the window, I was like,
she's right, it's one of the plagues, one of the seals is broken. And so then the bugs start coming up to the glass, because obviously they're attracted to the light that's in the building. And at first I thought like, damn, these bugs are gonna get in here and they're gonna be the problem, but they're not even the real problem, because Ollie finds out, and he's the first one to see real fast, that there is a big old dragon
pterodactyl-like creature swooping down, and it's eating the little bugs. And then they realize, oh shit, they're attracted to the light. And then one of the like bugs hit the window so hard that it smashed, and then the pterodactyl kept like coming for a bug there and hitting it until the window finally gave way and broke. And so then the bugs start flying in, and Sally gets bit or stung by one of these bugs, and it looked like it happened on the other side of her face than what swelled up, but that could just be me.
I think it happened there on her neck.
Yeah,
it stung her. Its little tail went whoop. Yeah, but it got her good because she's on the floor. And at the same time, there's also this dude who's there. Well, all of them, they're all trying to light torches on fire that won't light, essentially. And then this one dude lights it, but he's built the bucket of gasoline all over the floor, and so he like slips, and then the floor lights on fire, and he lights on fire.
Yep, it's very chaotic.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Amanda's just screaming a lot of the time, and then Ollie's trying to shoot the dragon, but he can't really shoot the dragon thing because there's people in the way. He doesn't want to shoot and miss, and then there's like a mom and a child in the way at one point. And then that's whenever they do end up being able to set one on fire, but it's because it's already like attacking the one dude by the window, and it's like eating his neck.
Yeah, it bit into that man's neck. And they're kind of buzzard like too.
Yeah, with the jaw and everything.
Yeah. And but then a bug lands on Carmody, and I was oh snap, is she about to die? But then she says some mumbo jumbo and is like, la la, and then the bug flies off. And then Billy starts freaking out, and rightly so. Yeah. Like, I mean, the kid's like 7 or 8, right? He's not.
He's very young. He's very young.
Yeah. And so he's freaking out, and he just wants to get to his dad, but he's like getting in the way. And it's like Ollie
who's trying to shoot the dragon thing.
Yeah, again. And Billy's like right in the way. And then David sees it right at the right second, swoops Billy up, and then Ollie shoots and takes care of the little monster. And then the situation settles down. They've like killed all of the ones that have come in. And we get someone saying she was right, like Miss Carmody. Yeah. And then we see something bigger dragging off the biker's lower half. Yeah.
And it's night times at this time. And I guess some of the people are trying to sleep or whatnots. And at this point, is it David talking to Amanda? Or I don't know. He's talking to someone. But then Ollie comes and gets them because they need to go check on Joe.
Yeah, he was talking with Amanda.
Yeah. And Joe is not doing too hot. Joe's the dude who caught himself on fire.
Yeah. And he is basically begging to die. He's like, please just kill me. And then this is where they get the idea of, okay, we're going to go to the pharmacy and get him some pain medication and Silvadine or
something like that.
Yeah, for burns. And then we have Amanda realizing, she's like, hey, can you watch Billy for a second, to Hattie? And she's like, can you watch him for a second? And then she's like, Hattie. And then we see that Hattie has taken a bunch of pills.
She took herself out of the equation.
Was dead. So Amanda comes in to tell them that Hattie is dead. And then this is like, they're like, okay, we got to figure out something, because we're like, we can't be trapped here.
And they can't stay there forever.
Yeah. And he's even like, we've got our very own Jim Jones. Like, we got to leave before people start drinking the Kool-Aid. And I was like, I mean, honestly, at least they were thinking that she was cult-like too.
It's very much that. And also she's inciting a lot of fear and panic, and providing people with a false kind of sense of safety. when they're not really safe at all.
Yeah, because they think that she's some sort of like
Messiah almost.
Yeah,
Prophet.
a prophet. Like she can tell the future.
Yeah, she started. Yeah, even one of them said that she
was like, someone else will die tonight, is what she had said earlier, and
She
then
said-
Sally died.
Yeah, and she had them convinced that she was like a psychic or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so she has all these crazy followers. And then this is whenever they're trying to get it to go leave, but they won't, like, you know, Miss Carmody won't let them leave. And she's saying, like, if y'all leave, you will bring the wrath upon us. And then Irene, right? It hits her with the can.
Irene. Yeah.
And it's like,
that was
it's so good because she's like, in the Bible, you can stone people when they don't say something you don't like.
and she's like, and I got plenty of more peas. That part cracked me up. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, and I love how she's like they're getting people together to go out, and she talks to him. She's like, oh, didn't I have you and whatever and such back in the day? And he's like, yeah, me and my sister. And she's like, yeah, a pair of what's it called? Underachievers.
Yeah.
She's basically just making them be like, this is your time to prove yourself. Let's go. And so then they're going out. They're going to the pharmacy. They end up getting out there, and you think that someone's going to die, but they make it to the pharmacy, everybody.
And I really like these shots of like them coming in and out of focus and with the mist.
And then they'd appear like right at the front of the screen.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I thought that was really cool. But yeah, they make it to the pharmacy, and then they're like loading up. They're trying to be quiet, but I think it was Jim who like bumped into something, and he was like, I'm sorry. But they're like just swiping the shelves of like any and all medicine that they can find. They find the burn medication. They're like, we got to get some like Oxycontin or hydrocodones kind of things for him as well. And I was like, y'all are going to kill this poor guy with an overdose just because y'all are going to mix like penicillin and all this stuff, and you're not doctors.
Things
like
that you don't know how much people need.
Yeah. And at this point, they had reached for something, and I noticed there were spider webs.
Yeah.
And then, there were spider webs before, like all of they
Where
are
they got to
swiping
that
the
area,
shelves.
yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, what? I was like, maybe it's Halloween is what I thought.
Those are just
I was like, I guess it's just decorations. Cause I was like, this place hasn't been abandoned that long for spider webs and so,
but we soon find out that because the mist is in here as well, they left the doors open, that something did indeed make its way into the building. And there's a whole spider demon monster layer. And we find people.
Reminds me of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, very much that. And like Alien.
Yeah, especially when it starts bursting forth from his face.
Exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of that happening because there's a sergeant or whatever dude from the military who we saw earlier. He's on the wall, and he's like telling them he is sorry. He said it's all my fault, or it's all our fault.
Yeah.
And then that's whenever like these spider like creatures start like bursting out of him, and then the whole gang starts getting attacked by them, and they have acid like webbing,
acid.
which is really cool.
Yeah.
Not for our people though, because they're getting attacked.
How it like shot too.
And it was like kind of just
slow-mo, and then
kind of it seems very delicate, but then it just like burns.
But then it was like
yeah. And so it's very wispy. And so then it's pandemonium because they're all freaking out. A few of them do not make it, like Myron, right? Or no, someone else. It wasn't Myron. It was some other, not the star clerk, but someone else didn't make it.
I think it was Joe's brother.
Joe's brother and someone else.
Yeah.
It was two people.
It might have been Myron.
I
don't remember Myron from in the rest of the film.
Yeah, maybe. And then
it was very dark in this scene.
It's very the whole movie. There's a lot of chaos too when these scenes happen.
Yeah, so it's kind of hard to tell who all, and there's so many characters.
Yeah, throughout the whole movie, and then we end up being able to make it out of there. They all run back to the building of the grocery store. But yeah,
and Irene, with that fire torch.
Oh yeah,
was so badass.
Yeah,
I was like, hell yeah.
Irene's so
I called her
cool.
Miss Old Lady. I was like, hell yeah, Miss Old Lady, because I couldn't remember her name.
Yeah.
Ew. And when the military police guy fell forward off the wall, and then the spiders, his back just like popped open and
have
all
you ever
the spiders
done that before?
Fallen face first on the ground.
And then spiders pop out of your body?
I can't say that I have.
No. Have
Should
you
I try
ever no. Have you ever this is more of where I was going because I've done it is like you see a spider and you're like, "Oh my god, it's a big one. I need to kill that." And I did that one time and when I stepped on it and I was like,
Oh, baby spiders came out.
yeah. A lot of them. And I was like, I thought at first like, "Oh my god, was it already dead?" And like ants are like coming out of that cuz they were eating it, but they were moving so sporadic and everywhere and crazy. It was just like a swarm coming from the body. And I was like, they're baby spiders. It was the worst thing ever. Yeah, it was
that's
so
so
bad.
scary.
And I had to like everywhere.
Tap them all out.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Tippity tap tap.
But it was terrifying. There's a lot of them. Yeah. And so then at this point they're back in the store or the grocery store and Jim is being fucking annoying because he's like, I don't even remember what he was saying, but he was just being a baby and wailing and like, "Oh my god, they're all dead. They're dead."
Yeah, that is what makes me think it was Myron who died because of his reaction.
Maybe. And then David takes a nap. He just knocks out. Right?
Yeah.
Because he wakes up and everybody's like,
wakes up to Carmody speaking nonsense again.
Yep. And then John is dead. He died. He's come to his wounds.
Yeah.
And he's been out so long that she's been able to gather a good following of people.
Yep. Including Jim. And she is like preaching gospel and is saying the word expiation a lot. Yeah. And I loved Ollie when he was like, "Welcome to Sesame Street. Today's word is expiation." But yeah, she just
is losing her ever fucking mind, honestly.
Yeah, she really is.
Really convincing these people to also lose their mind, unfortunately. And then they're basically just like, as a group, which is like what, like 5 of them at this point or 6 of them, they're like, we have to go. Like, we cannot stay here because either we're going to die here, or even Amanda said, like, I would rather go out there and die trying than dying here waiting.
Yeah.
And be left with these crazy people.
For sure.
And so they need to go talk to the soldiers. So they go and try to find the soldiers. But unfortunately, the soldiers cannot talk anymore because they are dead.
They are dead. They have hanged themselves.
Found them hung up in the, what do they keep calling that? Stock room or not?
Just the back room, loading dock.
Loading dock, yeah.
And then they go, like, kind of run out of there, and Wayne Jessup is like in the front, and
it's because Jim pulls him out.
Yeah, Jim pulls him out. That's right. He goes back there because he saw them like huddling around the back room, and so he was like, "It's his fault. Like, we heard the military police like say it was their fault." And so he's like, "It's this guy's fault." And he's like, I just work there.
Literally. He's just like, I don't run the building corporation. But I love how it also just details and shows that them as a whole, like, paranoia, scared crowd are just ready to pin it on anything and anybody.
Yeah, they need to blame it on something.
It was these guys' fault first, and it was these guys' fault as sinners, and now it's specifically his fault in the military. So it's just like, whose fault is it, you guys?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
And freaking Carmody starts being so fucking violent. And she was like grabbing his face and stuff. And he basically ends up saying, Wayne says that the scientists were looking for other dimensions and a hole ripped open. He was like, it was like a window to another world. And she was like, did you ever think that window might be a door? And then
I feel so bad for him because then she riles up the crowd so much, and she's like, "We've got to get rid of him." That the butcher, I guess, who works there at the grocery store, starts stabbing him.
Yep, they stabbed him because she's like saying we're being punished for science. Basically, she's like, we're being punished because of abortion and
because
people
split
splitting
his atoms.
Yeah,
like such dumb shit.
It was very dumb.
And so then poor Jessup's getting fucking stabbed, and then he gets picked up by the crowd, and not for a fun time because he's about to get thrown out.
She's chanting, "Feed him to the beast," and they throw him outside, and then he's like begging at the window to be let back in. And I love the shot after he gets sucked off with with the bloody hand. But giant creature gets him, and then Carmody says, "The beast will leave us alone tonight. Tomorrow, we'll just have to wait and see.
So crazy. Because at this point, she really does have them convinced.
She does, that she's some sort of oracle or something.
And so then after all of this craziness and hoopla, that's whenever I think we have Dad talking to Billy because they're kind of cuddling together and he's trying to console him. And he has to make Billy a promise that he won't let the monsters get him. And I feel like that promise really comes in later and weighs heavily on David's decisions making.
Yeah.
And then we turn back to I think it's now time to go because Amanda wakes up David and she's like, we got to go. So they're trying to leave, but Miss Carmodine finds like their stash of supplies that they were going to use to take, and she's like, oh, so now we're stealing. And she's like waiting with them with a knife at that. Right? She had a knife?
Yeah, she did. Hand. She was just sitting there and she was like, and then she starts saying it's the privileged people who refuse to bend to the will of God, and y'all are privileged because you're stealing from us. And then she really just fucking spirals from here. And then she's like, it's from the blood of a human sacrifice, of like them. It's from them. The blood of a human sacrifice must come. And she was like, we want the boy. And I was like, are you seriously about to like fucking kill Billy right now?
Well, she started bringing up Abraham and all that. And I'm like, ma'am, didn't you also remember in the scripture that God also stopped him before he sacrificed his son because it was just a test, and it was also bullshit, and it's also fictional. These are all made up stories written by guys who like don't even fucking live anymore. And so, she's like, I want the boy.
And you lose all credibility.
How can we prove it? How can we prove it?
Yeah.
Because people said, and then other people said, and then other people said?
Yeah.
All of it's a lie.
It is.
Gravity's a lie.
Everything's a lie.
Sir
Everything's made up.
Didn't even invent gravity.
This is actually
some drag queen invented gravity, and they were not credited.
Isaac Newton in drag.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Awesome. That should be the new play. Fuck Hamilton. It's called Newton.
Newton. Did I ever tell you that I named all of my hamsters growing up Isaac Newton?
Why? Because you love gravity?
I did.
Aw.
I don't know. I had a fascination with like
the apple, with
just scientists in general. Like I did a big old project on Edmund Halley and like the Halley's Comet and Tesla and everything. Like I was so fascinated
Elon
by
Musk?
scientists. No.
I'm kidding.
Nikola Tesla. And then, I named all of my hamsters Isaac Newton. And then I had one female one and I named her Isaac Newton.
Oh, D-O-T.
Yeah.
That's cute.
So they were, and it also like, guess I didn't fully understand like death at that point too, because I was so young, and like to name them all the same thing, pretty weird.
No, it's not
like
that
I
weird.
would never now. I would never name, like
Something
I would never
the same
name
thing.
my new cats Kiki.
Yeah,
And
well, I think that's different.
Yeah,
I think hamsters are different. Ooh, not that they're more expendable, but like that they just kind of
they don't have as long a lifespan.
Yeah, exactly. I guess that's what it is. But neither do the people in this film.
Nope.
Because we are trying to exit. She won't let them exit, and before things can get even too crazy and out of hand, because now we have her asking for the boy and all that bullshit.
And people are literally clawing at Amanda, who's holding
trying to get the boy,
Billy, trying to get him out of her arms. And so
Ollie does what should have been done literally the day before, hours ago, and shoots her. And I love how it goes right through her milk bottle that she's been drinking this whole time.
Shattered. I was like, wait, what happened?
Great dramatic
Because it all
effect.
happened so fast. And
then you see the blood in her.
Yeah, and I was like, oh.
And then Ollie, the fucking camera goes right to Ollie, and it's just like right up in his face and him holding the gun, and then he shoots her right in the head.
Yep.
Clean shot.
And then you hear someone saying, you murdered her. And I was like, people act in shock like that he killed her, saying you murdered her, like y'all weren't about to just murder a child because she said so.
Literally, yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
And I would have been like, and I would have said, you know what? It's her greatest honor. They murdered Jesus, didn't they?
Yeah.
Like, hello.
She's a martyr?
She's a martyr. She literally is exactly like Jesus. So there you go. Good for her. Do you want to get murdered too? I would have shot her right in the head too when she said that.
Yeah, it would've been like...
I literally would have been like, bam. Like literally. Like anybody else got something to say, now is your time. I don't know. Because at that point, like I would have just felt the adrenaline. I'm like, all right, yeah, and I'll do it again.
Yeah.
And so then they end up walking out, thankfully, and they make their way to the vehicles, but not before, unfortunately, a few of them do not make it. Like the old dude who was always just like, I got a shotgun, or like, it's them in the mountain, it's the military, which honestly, he wasn't wrong.
Nope.
He wasn't wrong. And then who else died? Ollie unfortunately dies.
Yeah,
it's
Ollie,
so sad.
And Ollie gets like, he makes it to the car too, which is the most frustrating part, is that he made it there, and then
just
this
gets scoops up.
Giant creature comes and it just like clamps down on him and pulls him up, and his blood automatically just starts going everywhere.
All
and
over
it's
the vehicle.
Like, oh shit.
The gun plops down on the car.
Yeah,
the
I was
hood
like,
of it.
at least he dropped the gun.
Yeah.
But and then the others got lost. One was I think the manager guy. And I
think he got acid to the face, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then the dude, the old man, got jumped by a bunch of spider creatures.
Yeah, and they're just getting picked off one by one. And then the rest of them make it into the car. So we've got Amanda, Irene. Billy, Irene, David, and
Jim. Is that Jim?
No. Jim's the mechanic.
Jim. No, Lee. Or no. It's the old man who said they took Lee.
They took John Lee.
Yeah.
Oh shit, I had his name earlier.
It's at the very beginning.
Dan.
Okay. So they're all in the vehicle and they're trying to drive away. They end up making it to...
and he grabs the gun successfully off the car, which was scary because I was like, oh, he's going to get dead.
Yeah. And then they're able to make it to David's house. And this is when we see that his wife is dead.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, on the outside of her house.
And there's very like haunting music that's happening throughout all of this too. Very choral, like ahs and oohs happening. And then also just PSA, I'm pretty sure in a thick mist, you're not supposed to drive with your high beams on. They had like all these lights on the car because it reflects off the water particles and it bounces light back at you, and then you can't see.
Oh. So
you're supposed to drive with your normal normal beams, but not high beams. Because that much light,
it's not good.
That could be a myth.
It does.
Maybe Mythbusters covered
it does like the opposite of what you wanted to do, basically.
Yeah. But they were driving with like all those lights on the car, and I was like, I don't think you're supposed to do that.
Also, wouldn't it have attracted the bugs?
Yeah, that's also what I was thinking. But yeah, they make it back to the house. They see that his wife is dead, and that was pretty sad. Thank God Billy was asleep.
Yeah.
Because I think
that would have been a good sight. Traumatizing.
Scarred him for life. Yeah. Not that his life lasts much longer.
But this is where we have the scene where he mentions like, oh, I told her I was going to fix it. That was my grandfather's tree.
Yeah.
And I broke, the window. And then that's whenever we have them just driving off. And I guess they're kind of like, well, what now? But
let's see how far the fuel can take us.
Yeah.
Is basically what they decide to do. They pass like a school bus with dead people in it, which was sad. And then they're like, they have to pause at one point because that giant moose-like creature with tentacles, mammoth-like creature was walking over them.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the engine starts sputtering and they aren't clear of the mist yet.
Nope.
So they're like,
well, fuck.
Yeah. And then he pulls out the gun.
I don't understand how it went to this is how fast we give up. Like, honestly, I just didn't I thought like, could we not see if we could make it in the vehicle a few hours and then
yeah, like why did we have to do it immediately?
Or see if there was something close around. Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, it's funny too how they're all kind of, I guess, reading each other's minds because then they're just
there's no words exchanged.
Yeah.
He's just like, he counts it out and he's like, we've got 4 bullets left. And then the only words like, he says that, and then Amanda says, but there are 5 of us.
Yeah.
And then it pans outside the car, and you see the car in the mist, and then you see the light from the gun.
But not before. Not before the little boy wakes up, Billy. And I'm pretty sure he was just
planning to kill him in his sleep.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure Billy wakes up and what he's seeing is his dad literally holding a gun to his head.
Yeah.
Because his eyes got really like
wide.
And he's just like, bam.
Yeah.
And then Amanda slumps over.
4 gunshots go off. And then we pan back into the car and we see that David is alive. So David killed all of them. Because you can see Dan in the backseat and Irene.
Yeah.
Both. They don't ever show Billy's body, thank God. But,
too much, but we know he's dead.
Yeah.
And then
because David is like wailing.
Yeah,
at
for
this
sure.
point.
And then he gets out of the car because he wants obviously the creatures to kill him. And
yeah, he's like, come and get me.
It's really unfortunate because you do hear like a big which I do think is a creature, but you also then start to hear kind of like this other louder, kind of more drumming noise, and then a freaking tank rolls up.
Yep.
A bunch of them.
If only they had just waited like literally
2 minutes.
2 minutes longer, rescue was coming. And the mist starts clearing and they're rolling through.
Burning up all the like creatures and stuff.
Yeah. And we see that Carol made it. She was there with her kids.
I love the way she looks at him too. Just kind of like,
bitch, I told you so. And, but yeah. And then David falls to his knees and he's again wailing and just screaming.
Like he's like saying they're dead for what?
Yeah, they're dead for what? And it pans out on him and then this long rescue convoy that's just driving by. And then we fade to black.
And that is the end of The Mist.
2007.
Yeah, it's a really horrible ending. Not like in a bad ending, I mean, but like it's just like it's so sad because he literally killed his son. And what I guess he thought was like sparing him of like a worser fate. But that's a lot. And then like for to be saved. And then like I honestly like don't know if he would make it that long. Like I feel like he would still like unalive himself.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that he would be able to like
live with the fact that his wife and son are dead.
And that his son is dead like at the hands of him.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's heavy. But I feel like the movie also does like really kind of, it doesn't give us that like almost happy ending or like, okay, some of us at least made it or the dad and son made it. Like, you know, it's really sad. And
yeah,
I feel
it's
like
a very heartbreaking ending.
I feel like it really shows a true and really kind of like what would happen and could happen if things like that happen transpired in real life and what real life people having to make like split decisions in moments. And, you know, you only have so much to go off of.
The horror of humanity.
Yeah. And not knowing that if they would have just waited 2 to 5 more minutes, like they would have been rescued. And yeah, it's really sad. But also the rest of the movie, really cool. It was a fun ride.
Yeah.
Miss, what's her name? The crazy lady?
Carnboy. I don't know. I'm not looking at my notes anymore.
Carmody. Carmody. Yeah.
Carmody.
Charmander. Miss Carmody is honestly like one of my favorite characters because she's just so psychotic and like Marcia Gay Harden plays her really well.
She does.
And even in the moments where she's not like really spouting or spewing and she's just kind of even more just kind of like, you know, it's just she's so deep in the character that it's really believable that she's the town's loon and she's basically getting her pulpit finally.
Yeah.
Essentially. And the creatures, the monsters, it was pretty interesting. At times it gave a little bit of, well, I found out that the movie was actually like supposed to be starting with Paramount Pictures or something like that. And they had like a I don't know if it's billion or $1 million thing, but then they wanted the director to change his ending. So he was like, "Nar." And so the movie ended up getting like shopped around and it ended up at Dimension Films and they let him keep his ending, but they significantly did not have as
much funding,
good of a budget as the other production. Yeah. So
I think they did a great job with what they had.
They did have a good job. Some of the creatures, it gives like sci-fi channel type of creatures or visuals, if that makes sense. But it was good, and throughout the whole movie, I think the real emphasis is like the horror that happens within like people, and like even Amanda like points it out. She's like, it's only been 2 days. Like it's only been 2 days, and like this is what happened so far.
Yeah.
And so, it's a really cool and interesting take on, what would happen if we just literally were going through the hell of it. I don't know. I would have to. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a B rating. Of my B rating is gonna be like a 3.5. I'd say 3.5. 3.8. 3.8.
Okay.
A 3.8. A 3.8. Yeah. Was that you?
I don't know. I didn't hear it.
Breathe. No, I swear I heard like a breath. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Is it my own? No, it's not. I swear I heard like a breath on there. That's so weird, like something breathing. No, I don't know.
Not me.
And so, anyways, yeah, at 3.8, I'm gonna give it a 3.8.
Okay.
Overall 3.8. Good story, good plot. Felt like it moved at a good pace-ish, even though it felt a bit long at some points. But maybe that was also just like the freebie fucking commercials that would cut in every once in a while.
Yeah, it made it 2 hours long.
Yeah. And then because it's really like what, I guess an hour and a half, an hour and 40.
Probably an hour and 40, 45.
Yeah. And so yeah, 3.8. Do I have to? Yeah, like it's almost like, well, they made it into a TV series, but I did watch the TV series. It's a bit different, but also kind of basically the same. But I feel like I want to know, even in the TV series, it was kind of more or less like a drawn out version of what's happening in this movie. Or I want like a prequel, or like what was going on in the lab. Like I want to know like how we the dimensions or like all of that kind of stuff. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be fun to know.
But what's your take, or do you have any fun facts?
I do have some fun facts. I'll give those first. Stephen King says that he was genuinely frightened by this adaptation of his novella. Frank Darabont said that this was the happiest moment of his career. To be told that he scared Stephen King, which is really cool. During an action scene in the film, a man runs into the wire rotating bookshelf in the grocery store, which I remember that. If you look carefully, though, you can see that all of the books on the shelf were written by Stephen King.
Oh, that's cool. Little Easter eggs.
Yep. Frank Darabont agreed to make the film a dimension only under the condition that they, no matter what, wouldn't change the scripted ending. They agreed. Stephen King got the idea for the source novel when he was in a Maine market. When he noticed the front window was made of plate glass, he wondered what would happen if giant insects flew into it.
That's so interesting how this whole stuff started from just that one thought.
Yeah. And then this is the third film that Frank Darabont has adapted from Stephen King's work. The other two were Shawshank Redemption and The Green Mile. Which I wonder if The Green Mile was on the wall maybe at some point too.
If we're looking at it more closely,
The Green Mile is such a sad movie.
I've honestly never seen it.
Oh,
I've seen pieces of it.
It's sad,
but not all of it. It's about people like on death row, right? Yeah. And
the main guy.
Is he there because he's wrongfully convicted?
I believe so.
Okay.
Now it's been so long that since I've seen it. I can't remember if he's wrongfully convicted or if I think it is that he is. But don't take my word for it because it's been so long since I've seen it now.
Yeah.
I probably haven't watched that movie since I was like 12.
Well, those are all very like Green Mile and Shawshank Redemption. And like those are very like popular movies. I guess is what I'm trying to get at. What else?
Is Shawshank Redemption, is that, I've never actually seen Shawshank, but does it take place in a
what? In a movie?
Does it take place in a, I think I'm getting it confused with something else. Does it take place in a prisoner? Like they're prisoners?
I'm like, I don't want to get, yeah, it does, but I don't want to get it because it has Morgan Freeman in it. And someone else. They're two. It's sentence.
Well, it's interesting because the Green Mile, they're also prisoners. And then in this film, they were prisoners of the grocery store.
They were. Maybe all of Stephen King's movies are just basically people in prison.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's about prison basically, and about people who are serving life terms essentially.
Yeah.
But
my boo rating, honestly, I loved this film. I thought it was great. I loved it.
5.
Yeah. I maybe 4.8. Or 4.75, just because some of the monsters, like you said, were a little sci-fi looking, but that's because they probably
mainly the tentacles.
Yeah,
coming from under the thing.
But they still were very scary.
Yeah, it was terrifying.
But I think, overall, I thought the plot, I thought all the acting was phenomenal, even from Billy. Like Billy was, as such a young kid, doing such a great job, and I mean, it's a phenomenal story, I think, and very terrifying. And like, what if that was to happen? And again, it is kind of a narrative on the like horrors of humanity and how people can easily turn against one another, and how maybe the monster isn't the scariest thing out there. It could be the person lying next to you, kind of thing.
Your neighbor.
Yeah. So
especially when Jessup was like, most of you have known me since I was a kid. Like,
yeah. And then they just kill him and sacrifice him, which was like bizarre.
Yeah.
But I thought, I just really enjoyed watching this movie. I watched it in 2 parts just because I was sleepy last night.
Yeah. Broke it in half.
Yeah. But I thought it was super great. I thoroughly enjoyed watching it. Would watch it again. I thought everyone did a really good job with this film. Yeah. 10 out of 10.
10
would
out of
recommend.
4.75. And you know what? I'll give it a 4.
Okay.
I'll bump it up to a 4. Bumping that just because, I mean, it is a good movie. I don't know. I just like feel.
You didn't love it.
I just didn't like love it, but it was good. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it was good.
Yeah.
It had good pacing.
Yeah,
there
the
were
pacing
certain
was
points
good.
where I was
never
like,
thought it really lulled.
Oh, damn. Like when they were with the spiders and stuff, and like the
Yeah.
acid stuff was getting sprayed on like that one dude's face, and then the one dude's leg was like getting like a lot of stuff and then I was just kind of like, but then like watching Alien pretty recently, I was like, oh, that reminds me so much of like Alien. So it's just kind of cool to see how like different horror methods and tropes and like different things influence and like work their way through, because that was also a really cool take of just seeing like a spider with acid.
Yeah, webbing.
What's it? Webbing. Yeah. Silk. Overall, yeah, it's a 4 and a 4.75. So what does that make it?
4.39.
9. Yeah. 4.39587.
2.3.
4. So it's just a 3.4?
Yeah.
Okay, a 3.4. For 2007's The Mist, dun dun dun.
Directed by Frank Darabont.
Yeah, so just adding to our roster of creature features, because next week we will be covering Splice,
which I've not seen
and
before.
It's been forever since I've seen it. It's been forever since I've seen it.
And this is a more modern film, right?
Yeah, well, it's 2010, I want to say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so modern, yeah. But it's definitely
long enough ago.
Science fiction type of leaning. I know 2010 is like literally 14 years ago. That's wild to think about.
It is.
Sometimes.
We were in high school.
I was thinking about the music, because that's like music and like kind of eras of music, because it's so funny. Like that was like everything sounded like it was like right before EDM, but it was like kind of
like pop synthy,
very pop synthy, but it was like kind of still after like we were, because 2008 was like Boom Boom Pow, Black Eyed Peas, and everything's and Gaga, so everything started kind of getting
and
very,
we were
like,
morphing into also folk. Because like around 2012 is when all those folk bands became
the Lumineers and
Edward Sharpe and the Magnetic Zeros, Mumford and Sons,
of Monsters and Men,
of
Mice and Men, right, or something like that.
No, it is of Monsters
and Men.
Of Mice and Men is the book.
Yeah.
And I think also a metal band.
Probably. Yeah. So, but yeah, guys, that we'll be covering Spice, and hopefully you get to listen to that. And if there's anything that you want us to cover, or if you want to give us your opinions on those, please shout out to us. Let us know. We are in the lovely Rogue Media Network studio.
That's right. They take great care of us, and you can listen to us and all the other amazing podcasts that they have, all in one central place, and that is
RogueMediaNetwork.com.
And then wherever, if you don't listen there, but you can find us on all of your major podcasting platforms. But the biggest two would be
Spotify
and also Apple. But wherever you do listen, don't forget to
rate, review, like, and subscribe.
That's right, because that's the only way we can get ahead in this world. And then if you want to let us know your thoughts on The Mist, if you like the TV show better, if you think we should watch it, because I don't think I've seen the TV show.
Oh, I think you like it. I think it has more of like a it shows like what happens to people when they go outside in the mist, and like kind of what happens to them in a sense. It gives more like
instead of them just disappearing into the mist.
Something's happening in here, like psychedelic, like kind of like they see things, see like your family members like in the mist, like
interesting
people who are dead. Yeah.
Fun. But if you think we should watch that, and let us know, and you can reach out to us on our one social media platform, which is Instagram, and that is at
Boobays Podcast, and that's at BOOBAES, because we're your boobays, not your boobabes.
That's right. And do you have anything else?
No, I don't. Guys, if you go rock climbing or bouldering, just make sure to fall when you're falling, and don't try to catch yourself, because you will pull your arm in a weird way, and it will not feel good.
Ouchie. Yes.
That being said, everybody go try out basin climbing here in Waco. Shout out to them, and maybe you can sponsor us.
That's not where you got injured, though, right?
No, and that is not where I got injured, actually.
So they're safer.
Whatsoever. Yeah, they are very safer.
We don't know that.
Probably.
But all right, then. Until next time.
Bye, bays.
Bye, bays.
Bye.
Boobays.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.